to Something Witchy, a Sabrina the Teenage Witch rewatch podcast. I'm Laura Cotter.
And I'm Skye.
And we are on our break. You're in Scotland at this point when this comes out, right?
Who knows? Depends on when you choose to slot it.
We don't know where we're going to be. We're going to be enjoying our summer, whatever we're doing, and not recording. So we're recording some things ahead of time. And as usual, we decided to take a little bit of a break in between seasons, give our brains a minute to reset, absorb what we've done. I think there's something else coming out. This may be the last thing that comes out. I may have already said this. I don't know. What is time? Anyway, we're in our break. So we are veering off course a bit. Quite a bit. We're going to be watching the first episode of the first season of Passions, the soap opera.
Sure are.
I don't really have a discussion prompt for this one, but just have you ever watched soap operas before, Skye, or is this your very first soap opera?
I have never watched like a classic soap opera episode all the way through. I feel like I've seen like snippets of like Days of Our Lives, like waiting rooms and whatnot there. I have watched all of Jane the Virgin, which, you know, telenovela, soap opera.
Have we discussed this before? Because I'm like, Skye and I had a little bit of a tiff earlier today.
Really?
Skye was saying I didn't tell them some things, and I was like, I 100% told you these things, but I can't figure out where I told them.
You're just imagining it.
So, but not a classic soap opera.
No, not a classic soap opera.
So soap opera pacing is very different, as I'm sure you've now realized.
Yes.
It's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of very slow scenes because we're filling, 5 episodes a week. We can't have too much action or else things get expensive really quick. So it's a lot of like reminders of who characters are, a lot of saying names repeatedly so that you can come in at any point in the soap opera. It doesn't matter if it's been on air for 40 years and you can figure out the storyline and what's going on. Passions is one that I got into when it started and I watched it pretty religiously. I mean, like, to the point I could because I was in school when it was on for the next few years throughout my teenage years. I did some research on it just to get some background. It was weirdly skewed towards younger demographics, which is a little bit strange for soap operas. So while it was on NBC, which was its first few seasons, it was the #1 soap opera among girls aged 12 to 17 and women aged 18 to 24, which makes sense. And then it was also #2 for women 18 to 34 and overtook Days of Our Lives for a moment from 2004 to 2005. That's how huge this thing was for a soap opera. And I think part of it is because it was so nutso. It was so wild and out there. It's so completely unlike anything else my generation had seen. My mom watched Dark Shadows as a young woman, which is also a supernatural soap opera, and it's actually getting a reboot. Warner Brothers is doing an adult animated reboot of it that it's going to come out in 2027, which will be interesting. That one actually might be one that you get into because it's a 175-year-old vampire.
Ooh.
They did like a little reboot of it, Dark Shadows, with Johnny Depp several years ago. And it was just a movie and it wasn't super good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's that.
I didn't know that was based on a soap opera.
It's a soap opera my mom loved. Passions was until we got, what's the new one? Oh, Beyond the Gates is the new one that came out in 2025. Until that time, Passions was the most recent new soap opera. So it was wild to have a new soap opera come in when we had these other ones that had been around for decades. And I think that's partially what drove its popularity. Why are we talking about it on the Sabrina show? Well, we've had a lot of guest stars who have acted on it. It has a supernatural element to it. It does have a witch. We did not meet Tabitha in episode 1, which was super disappointing because I'm like, that's the whole reason we did this. But we do get some of the supernatural to begin with. Yeah. Any thoughts, Skye?
You might have told me. I will give you that. I do not remember you telling me. I will give myself that. That there were supernatural elements to this. Yes. And so already like 100 more times invested because of the supernatural elements. And it now makes sense why this is my favorite vampire's favorite soap opera. Yes. It's because it's supernatural. Like everything starts to click of like, oh, this is why Spike liked it. Also, it's crazy. The Buffy writers referenced Passions actually quite a few times. And the first reference is 4 months after Passions first aired. So they also glommed like quickly onto loving the soap opera.
It was so big.
And I guess then Passions also like mention Buffy in like reciprocation.
Does it? I don't know.
That's what Reddit says.
Okay.
So.
I will trust Reddit. We'll trust Reddit sometimes. I will trust Reddit this time.
Love a good Buffy crossover. But it was definitely a pilot, and it was definitely a pilot of a soap opera, and I'm not necessarily in the like understanding you're just going to repeat things 1,000 times, Gwen. It's like trim the dialogue, people.
It does get better as you like get people more established, but yes, that's the nature of a soap opera. It's 40 minutes of saying the same thing 5 times.
But no, I think I will keep watching and report back as I get along in this canon.
I definitely am going to keep watching. Like, I wanted to watch the next episode immediately.
I was tempted to do the same.
There's so much that I forgot about. Minor spoilers. I did tell this to Skye. At some point, 4 seasons in, we're going to get an orangutan who is a recurring character and portrays a live-in nurse for an elderly woman. And the orangutan has the hots for Luis.
Oh.
And the Passions people submitted it for a Daytime Emmy Award.
Amazing.
Like, I think that's what it comes down to is like all soap operas are unhinged. There's a lot of lost memories. There's a lot of somehow somebody's inhabiting somebody else's body. Like there's a lot of that kind of crazy going on, but it very rarely goes into the realm of like the completely insane. And Passions just like took all the guardrails and just threw them away. And we're like, whatever we want to do, we're going to do it. And if we can't make up a reason why, we're just going to say magic. So I'm excited to see how far along you get into this before you're like, this is too insane. I can't handle this anymore.
It appears that Passions at least has an end, unlike some soap operas we know that might just go on even once the world has burnt to a crisp.
I can't speak to when it moved from NBC to DirecTV because I don't think I was watching it anymore at the time or could watch it anymore at that time. But the NBC years, at least, which was like 3 or 4 seasons, it's a lot. It's so much.
But it's a lot is very comforting.
It's just like, it never calms down. It never calms down. We'll have check-ins of your Passions journey. Where did you end up watching it?
YouTube.
Okay. Was it terrible quality? Mine had like 4 pixels.
So it was interesting. A lot of the stuff set in Harmony was terrible quality, but Sheridan, most of the time when it was like close up on her face or shots like with her framed, perfectly clear. So
I wonder if it was shot on like a different medium or something, like
maybe
film versus digital or something. Well, I hope you still listen to this episode, listeners. It's still going to be entertaining, and maybe join us on our side quest into Passions. The Summer of Passions, so we'll call it. All right, so they don't do episode titles because there's too many episodes to give titles to all of them, so we're just calling this 1.1. The TV guide description for this was, meet the residents of Harmony. While the town seems peaceful, secrets, lies, and magic are brimming under the surface. It originally aired July 5th, 1999, which we're at anniversary time for that.
Oh, look at us.
What a way to celebrate Independence Day to kick off with Passions.
We should know, I guess, at time of recording this, Independence Day is this weekend. Who knows when you'll be listening to this.
So, you got your hot dogs and your fireworks, and then you got Passions the next day. It had 3 different directors, and I think it's one for each of the locations, because we had Timothy Bond, James Sayed, and TJ Scott. And the main writer is James E. Riley. We're going to get into our guest stars. There's a lot of them. There's a lot that don't really have much to do. And I didn't do credits for all of them, but I did it for some. And then Skye also has some comments on some of them.
Yes. After watching this episode, I did go through on some of them and put the stereotype or main purpose I assume they will have throughout this.
It's also really hard when you have like 2 pixels on somebody's face to figure out who they are to like keep track of who's who. Yes. That doesn't help. Well, we start off with Paul Kama as our Carnival employee, Lena Cardwell as Simone Russell.
So Simone Russell is going to be the straight A good doer student.
Although maybe not as good as her parents would wish. There's some weird undercurrent there that we'll talk about. Then we have Che Courtney as Little Angel Girl.
Way too creepy, but also a good guy in the end, or good ghost in the end.
Bruce French as Father Lonigan. Oh, there's no note there. Keep going.
I wasn't sure if we'd see him again.
I don't know. Layla Bias Galloway as the social director. Galen Gehring as Luis Lopez Fitzgerald. And he is also on 1,934 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Otherwise known as he is loaded from all those residuals. He is going to be hunky good cop.
Lindsay Hartley is Teresa Lopez Fitzgerald, and she was most recently on General Hospital, but was on a bunch of other soap operas as well.
The psycho stalker teenager who needs to go to an asylum.
Yeah, she just gets crazier as the series goes on. Liza Huber is Gwen Hotchkiss.
Obviously a rich socialite, but I feel like she does have a conscience and is a better member of the bourgeois.
James Hyde is Sam Bennett, and I just saw this credit and wanted to say it. It's Daddy's birthday becomes daughter's funeral.
That sounds very melodramatic.
It does. I also don't like that they use Daddy's birthday.
They use Daddy a lot to refer to his daughters, kept calling him Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. Yeah. He's the good cop about to be wrecked by potential loss of his wife. Who knows?
Britt Kerr as Whitney Russell.
The common sense friend of a psychopath.
Jesse Metcalf as Miguel Lopez Fitzgerald, who you might recognize from John Tucker Must Die.
Teen hero.
Alexandra Petco is George the Waiter. Richard Prashong is Silvino. Kristen Quick is Carnival Girl. Taylor Ann Ramsey is Kay Bennett.
Now, Kay is one of the sisters, right?
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did we get a credit for another sister?
I don't think so. That's why I was like, oh, maybe Tabitha's still going to show up because there's other people on here that don't have credits. But I think she's just missing.
But my assumption about her is annoying. That's it. That's the purpose served.
That's fair. Doug Reed is Officer Johnson. Travis Schultz is Ethan Crane. And if you're wondering where he's from, if I said the phrase, nobody cares, Sean. He's Sean from Scrubs.
Troubled rich kid who must come to terms with his family's dark past.
Dana Sparks is Grace Bennett.
Potentially dead soon.
And we have a credit for this one, but she doesn't actually show up in this episode, though she is referenced. It's Eva Tamargo as Pilar Lopez Fitzgerald. She was also in 92 episodes of The Haves and Have-Nots. And lastly, we have Mackenzie Westmore as Sheridan Crane. And she was in something called 20.0 Megaquake.
Quite the quick. She's going to need to fake her own death because she knows the truth.
So overall, what are your thoughts on like our baby beginning plantings of storylines?
I think the seed is there. I think maybe this is how we become like YouTube popular, is we just trim down the episodes to 5-minute clips and release the 5-minute clips as like shortened Passions and be like, here you go.
I feel like we could do that. We could do a 5-minute recap of Passions. There was so much that I forgot. There's a moment where I laughed out loud, not because it was funny, but because I was shocked and forgot. I was like, how did I forget this? How did I block this out? Do not care about Ethan and Gwen whatsoever at this point. They added nothing other than a lot of backstory, but we'll get into it. So we open on a town getting ready for some patriotic festival. Miguel and his brother are driving around and getting hit on. And that opening song, I still have memorized. I heard that thing so many times. I can still sing it. This is the first time I've watched Passion since, I'm going to be generous and say 2004, 2005, and I still know this song.
That's pretty impressive, especially since you have the dementia already.
This goes on the dementia playlist. This will be the song. Miguel is looking for a summer job. Luis rudely turns down a job for him working as a gardener for the Cranes. It's bad enough that their mother cleans for them. A phone rings in the Cranes' house. Sheridan Crane has been living in Paris for a long time. We also learn she's the aunt to Ethan.
I just had a side note of I love it when characters talk out loud to themselves solely for a plot purpose.
Yes.
I wonder why Mr. Ethan's Aunt Sheridan doesn't come home.
There is no subtlety whatsoever. We get some shots of Paris, and we see Sheridan living her best life, supposedly. All the Parisians are obsessed with her.
And noting that if she is a princess, she's a very sad princess. We're a little judgmental of her, too.
There's a couple making out on the beach. It's Ethan and his girlfriend, and they're also super naked for it being in the middle of the day in public on a beach. She's off to Paris tonight to get some dresses altered, which leaves him alone for all the local girls to lust after. They make some weird jokes about using the word blip a lot.
He's been picked up on every eligible bachelorette's radar screen. Also, like, let's let Gwen have like a bikini top or something. Because for the rest of this episode, I was just focused on how she's like holding this towel up and only
Yes.
acting with one arm for presumably maybe like hours. Who knows how long they're on
Oh, it
this
was like
beach?
10 minutes of shooting.
Yes, but like in real story time frame.
Also, Ethan has like his towel weirdly like folded around him into like towel trousers
Yeah, they looked like shorts.
every time he stands up. Strange. A father and daughter play tennis while another girl scoffs at a magazine, speculating that Ethan and Gwen will get married. She draws on Gwen's face with a marker. Sisters are fighting over something when the dad comes down and tells them to keep it down so they don't wake up their mom. The mother is sleeping and a ball of light appears over her, then floats through the room. A child appears from the light saying she's come for grace.
And there's this moment in the transition, and I feel like it has to be on purpose because of how long it exists, but we don't see it again. But as the ball of white transforms into like this actual little girl actress, it's like they sketched out a face and were like, oh, well, maybe we'll just keep this weird white face sketch as the ball of light. And they didn't remove it, and then it became the little girl. It was just creepy.
Yeah.
AF is the literal words I put. Is like, no, not happy with that.
If you think that's creepy, wait till you meet Timmy for the first time.
Oh gosh.
I need you to at least watch enough episodes that you get to Tabitha and Timmy. Sheridan in Paris still takes her flowers to a cathedral and says a prayer for happiness and true love. She's also worried about dying or being killed, which a priest overhears. And kudos to that actress for climbing all those stairs in those heels. Gwen continues to needle Ethan about local girls and calls Dune Point a passion pit, which is a term I'm uncomfortable with. Ethan explains he's been in boarding school since he was a kid and didn't even vacation in Harmony, but it doesn't really bother him.
Well, I guess when you think of those poor little local girls who missed out on the Ethan Crane experience.
So gross. They continue making out. Teresa talks to Ethan's picture in the magazine and tears him out, separating him from Gwen. She smiles at him. Whitney and her father finish their tennis match, and Whitney joins Teresa. Teresa gleefully shows how she defaced Gwen. Whitney's father brags to his wife that Whitney is going to make the Olympic team. They then joke about their other daughter, Simone, who is always busy with something. She's currently at the Bennetts to work on the carnival. Grace sleeps fitfully as the ghost child tries to wake her. The child says the danger is here, and light glows on her finger as she touches Grace.
Okay, E.T.
It would have been better / creepier if they used the Ghost of Christmas Past puppet from Muppets Christmas Carol.
Oh, yes, it would have.
Sheridan prays at church and is approached by a priest. He asks if he can help her. Sheridan explains a friend of hers died just after finding true love. Grace is afraid because she is so similar to this friend and thinks she's found true love, but she might die. Sheridan slips and calls her friend Diana. It's Princess Diana. This is the part where I started cackling. I was like, oh no. Oh no. I think it's inappropriate now for this. And remember, this released a little under 2 years after Princess Diana actually died. So this was super inappropriate back then. Also, she was maybe murdered? Question mark? Conspiracy theory? I don't know.
Speaking of theories, I personally like the theory that Diana and Edward loved each other, but she had to marry Charles because he was the oldest brother.
Why would she have to marry him because he's the oldest brother when the queen hated her? Wouldn't the queen rather have had her marry the not king prince?
Oh, it's this whole wormhole you can go down on the conspiracy theories, but I mean, Queen didn't like her, but the people liked her, so...
Oh, to raise Charles's image, basically. Well, that didn't work.
Well,
it worked briefly.
Edward remains the good one of that family.
Sheridan says the only other person she's close to is her nephew, Ethan. Gwen again begs Ethan to come to Paris with her, but he has to do work for her family and needs to stay for the bar exam. It's too bad because they could have visited Aunt Sheridan together. Ethan hasn't seen her forever, despite the fact that in the previous scene, Sheridan says how close she and Ethan are. And we established that cell phones exist in this time frame, and I do not believe that two very, very rich kids would not have cell phones. They also explain how she's only a few years older than Ethan. Ethan views her as more like a big sister. He really misses her. Gwen challenges him to get to know his hometown now that he's back.
And who knows, maybe I'll meet one of those lusty Cinderellas you've been saying are dying to meet me.
It's a little bit uncomfortable that Ethan keeps talking about his very young aunt while him and his girlfriend are naked together. Like, make out. But Sheridan, make out some more. My Aunt Sheridan.
Make out. But those local girls make out.
Gwen is annoying. Teresa tells Whitney how awful Gwen is. Whitney tells her to cut back on the magazines, but Teresa is convinced she's going to be in them one day wearing fabulous clothes. Just because her family's poor doesn't mean she has to be. Whitney talks about her dream of playing at Wimbledon. Teresa hints that she'll be rich even sooner than you think. Whitney's parents look fondly at Teresa and Whitney's mom wishes Simone was as focused. So clearly Whitney's the favored child. The Bennett sisters continue to fight as their dad makes breakfast. Someone asked one of the sisters out on a date, and the other sister stole her pager and erased the message. The sisters start to fight again, but the dad steps in.
One of the sisters says, maybe it's Freddy Krueger, and follows it up with a, you look just like him.
Oh, and in this line, he doesn't know why they need beepers anyway. Showing that children have always been distracted by their technology. The sisters run off, yelling at each other. Grace finally wakes up, but the ghost child is gone. Luis and Miguel are still driving, now down the beach. Luis wants to earn more money so their mom can stop working. Luis hates the Cranes and thinks their mom is debasing herself by working for them. They also hint at some great tragedy in the past between their mom and the Cranes, though whatever it is was never proven. Gwen continues to nag Ethan about getting to know Harmony. The Cranes have lived there for 300 years and own most of the town. Gwen wants to know why Ethan hasn't proposed yet and thinks it's because he didn't have a real family life growing up. He needs to get to know some regular married folks. Maybe he'll find happiness. Ethan helpfully points out that Sheridan never found happiness. Also rude. Sheridan places her flowers on Diana's memorial and speaks to her, wondering why she died. She gets lost in a memory of talking on the phone with Diana the day before she dies. And that's where I was like, that's too much. That's a little...
It was quite the memory. Her enthusiasm about hearing from Diana. It's like, are you in love with Diana?
So happy for you. You're at the Ritz. You're on your way to see me? Like, that's uncomfortable. I want to look up some people's responses to this storyline back in 1999 and see how well it was received. I bet not well. Grace frantically searches for the little girl, but can't find her. Grace hears something in the hall, but it's just Sam. He asks who she was talking to, but she says she was just dreaming. Grace leaves to make breakfast, even though Sam literally was just making it. Grace wonders if she's going mad. Sheridan continues her dream of Diana and how happy she sounded. She remembers the phone call and how she hoped to find a love like Diana did. They promised to always be friends. Diana says she's leaving now and hangs up. Sheridan sadly hangs up the phone, wishing her friend to be careful. Present-day Sheridan cries. Ethan builds up the fire on the beach, and even though there's a sign right next to them that says no fires, and it's the middle of the day, maybe you should put on some clothes if you're cold. He laughs because he can afford the fine, and no cop will arrest someone for lighting a beach fire.
But maybe for public nudity. It's not a approved beach for that.
And open containers? Like, there's rules around alcohol and glass and stuff on beaches in some places.
Some places.
I'm confused as to how he's so wealthy and owns the town and his family does not have a private part of this beach. That's where him and his girlfriend could have gone and got funky together.
But then it won't be at the Passion Pit.
And they're like, everybody comes to the Passion Pit. I'm like, maybe don't have sex then in the middle of it.
It's the hip thing to do. Passion at the Passion Pit.
That should be the name of our like mini series podcast. It should be the Passions Pit.
Yes.
Luis and Miguel keep driving down the beach. Miguel is a junior in high school and on the honor roll. He and Teresa will be the first members of their family to go to college. Luis says they both need to save their money, even though Teresa is too much of a prima donna to look for a job. Luis got her a job at Burger Hut because she needs to face reality.
I have a hard time believing she's going to go to college.
I'm unclear on how old Teresa is. I'm going to go with senior if Miguel is a junior and she needs to save up money for college.
Yeah.
I'm hoping senior because if she's younger, that's going to make her infatuation with Ethan even creepier. Teresa teases Whitney with her big secret. Whitney worries about some of her wild dreams and what she would do to make them happen. Whitney's parents get them to get ready for the carnival. Teresa gives Whitney a hint. It's about a boy and their future together. Grace makes pancakes as the sisters still fight. Grace does not pay attention to them until it almost gets physical. Sam comes in wearing his police uniform, and the girls weirdly compliment him on how good he looks in it. It's his first day as chief. Sam again asks Grace what's going on, but she says she's fine.
I'm so confused with us jumping back and forth in times in the day. It's breakfast time at the Bennetts. It's midday for Gwen and Ethan. It seems like the carnival's about to start in a couple hours post tennis match. Teresa being a weirdo, so we're jumping everywhere.
I'm going it's with 7 a.m. for everybody, and Ethan and Gwen are just drinking at 7 a.m.
10 a.m. carnival. Here we go.
The light ball floats through the Bennett house. Grace absentmindedly washes a plate while the others talk about the carnival. It's raising money for community projects,
including installing new computers in the schools. My note is the constant struggle of money for new computers is timeless.
Jessica, which is the other sister we didn't get a credit for, Jessica let it slip that Kay left early yesterday. Sam immediately wants to know where she went, but the doorbell rings and he leaves to answer it. Eve is there to pick up Simone. Sam tells Eve that something is strange about Grace. Eve doesn't think anything of it, but Sam thinks something is wrong. He asks Eve to find out what's going on. I 100% thought Eve and Sam
had a past.
Were having a dalliance. The way he was like, I need to talk to you. Luis spots smoke from a fire on the beach and drops Miguel off to apply for his job. Luis continues on to break up the party. Gwen and Ethan are still rolling around in the sand. She won't stop trying to convince him to go to Paris and get married. Ethan changes the subject by saying Sheridan might be getting engaged. Ethan asks Gwen to check out Sheridan's new boyfriend. Sheridan continues to stare at Diana's memorial. A man watches her and calls someone to say he found Sheridan and they can finally get her. He follows Sheridan. Whitney's dad tells Whitney and Teresa to help with setting up the carnival. They run into Miguel and try to outsource their labor, but he has to go get a job. Teresa scoffs at this, and Miguel tells her that Luis wants to talk to her. He leaves, and Whitney again asks for Teresa's secret. She says she's getting married to Ethan Crane. Luis pulls up to Ethan and Gwen making out, who don't even hear the car or the car door slam. Luis finally gets their attention, but Ethan blows him off. Luis finds out he's Ethan Crane, and dramatic music plays.
Dun, dun, dun.
Sheridan sits at a cafe alone. She swears she won't let anything go wrong with her love this time. What a normal thing to say to yourself out loud.
Totally normal.
The strange man from before continues to watch her. He tells the person on the phone he's going to shoot her. Eve greets Grace in the kitchen while Sam takes the girls to the carnival. Eve helps Grace with the dishes. Eve starts to probe about what is wrong, and Grace hesitates. The ball of light appears outside the house calling for Grace. The child appears and says, "Evil is coming."
Cut to credits.
Oh, any last thoughts on that one, Skye?
I feel like sand is not the place to be getting it on.
No. I wanted to take a shower after that. Like so many little granules. Do you want to do a title for this? What of this stuff down here do you want to do? None of it?
Yes, everyone. Guess what Laura kept in the notes?
What's the Lopez Fitzgerald family secret? What's the Crane family secret? We know that there's a Crane family secret.
I think that a member of the Crane family and the Lopez Fitzgerald families also got it on in the past, maybe at the Passion Pit, and they're all secretly relatives. Gonna be this whole soap opera thing.
Oh, anyway. Do you want to guess what the next episode's about?
The child is going to talk to Grace some more, and there's going to be a carnival.
I think we'll be lucky if we get that far in the story.
Oh, no. I forgot about the timing.
I don't think you understand how slowly we move.
Oh. Sheridan might get shot at, maybe.
I think that's like in 12 episodes from now.
The dude was right there.
It's going to be like 5-minute shot of him taking a gun out of a bag alone. It's going to be like the most dramatic, like cut back, cut back, cut back.
Honestly, I feel like this is a show to watch while inebriated because I feel like you can be more invested in like the super slow stuff because you get like so drawn in that you don't care anymore that they've said the same thing like 30 times. You're like, yeah, that's right.
Oh boy. Well, we'll see if we do any more of this. But I'm sure we'll get updates along the way as both of us continue to watch here and there. Please like, share, rate, and subscribe to this podcast. We promise we'll get back to Sabrina soon. You can email us at somethingwitchypod@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at somethingwitchypod. Until next time.
Stay magical.